How would you like to get more control? Control over what you're doing, control over your emails, control over how you're spending your time, control over how much time you're managing to spend on strategic stuff, be that for your company or your work or your home life. How much control over what you're doing with your limited time and resources, again, both at work and at home. How much you're giving your appropriate focus to your colleagues and your team and your friends and your family and your social life and your health. These are all just some of the benefits that we offer with Getting Things Done, the art of stress-free productivity. A great way to learn Getting Things Done, the art of stress-free productivity, is by coming on one of our public courses. And we're thrilled that after the going through the lockdown periods and being virtual through those, we're now going to be having our first live in-person course in London in November this year. Back in the room, so you can get away from your screens and come along and meet us. And I'm booked to run it, so that's why I'm doing this talk. So a little bit about the Getting Things Done Level 1 Fundamentals course. We have 3 levels of seminar, which we'll discuss on the day. But Level 1, the Fundamentals, looks at the first of the 3 models people generally learn when they encounter GTD, called the 5 Steps of Mastering Workflow. And the 5 Steps of Mastering Workflow is all about control. It's all about how do I deal with all the new stuff that's coming at me, all the new demands on my time, all the new emails, WhatsApps, Teams messages, Slack channels. How do I deal with all of that in a way that enables me to think about it appropriately and decide what you should be doing, what you should be doing. So not just dealing with what other people think is important, but what do you think is important? You know, what do you want to do this weekend? What do you want to do on Tuesday at 3 o'clock? And so Getting Things Done enables you to have that sort of control over your world. We also do touch on the second model, which is called the Horizons of Focus, which is, rather than being about control, is more about perspective. It's making sure that, you know, what you're doing now is leading to where you want to get to in 2 years' time or 5 years' time, or indeed the rest of your life. But we start with the here and now on the Level 1 Fundamentals course. It's a great day. It's a day-long course, 9 till 5. There's a short break in the morning, a 15-minute break in the morning, a 15-minute break in the afternoon, and then an hour for lunch, which I'm going to discuss in a moment, because one of the benefits of being back in the room is what happens in those breaks as well as what happens on the course. But first, the Fundamentals course, to be really important, it's wonderfully well structured to support both those who are completely new to Getting Things Done, who possibly haven't even heard of it or don't even know it's a book. Some people come along because they've started at a new company, and the company like to send everyone to learn Getting Things Done, so they work well with all the other GTDers in their organisation. So some people are really new to it, and the course works fantastically well for them. They leave hopefully inspired to start putting in a bit of time implementing and getting the benefits of getting things done immediately after leaving the room. So that works for them. But it works equally well for people who perhaps have been using Getting Things Done for a while, for a number of years. I went on my first course after I'd been trying it for 5 years, having read the book and self-implemented, and I knew there was something more. I knew there was something else I could get from it. So I went on a course, and indeed there was, and look at me now. Teaching it completely fully hooked and can't imagine life without it. So often there are people in the room as well who will have a great experience. They've come along to really get some fine tuning from the certified seminar leader coach, who may ask some challenging questions which will be useful to everyone in the room, and move their own progress further deeper. So if you've been doing it for a while and you might think, I'm not sure what to do with some newbies, it really doesn't matter. The course works for both people at the same time, both groups of people at the same time. Now, it deals, we start by looking at sort of why you want to do GTD, what the benefits are, and then we move into these 5 steps of mastering workflow, looking at them all each in detail, looking at the nuance, looking at how to make it sophisticated. I don't like complexity. I don't want to talk about it being complex, but certainly the nuance. And some people who struggle, they may have read the book, they may have thought, that I know there's some sense in there somewhere, but I can't quite make it work for me, or maybe it used to work for you and it doesn't work for you anymore, seemingly. And so that's what we want to unlock for you. That's what we want to help you. And indeed for the newbies out there who come along and attend, just what is a better way of thinking about your world, thinking about your work in a way that's useful to you. So we've been running it virtually since through lockdown. So people have been coming into this room here, and I've been sitting still as a whole day course, still with the same timings, 9 to 5, with a short break in the morning and afternoon, and an hour for lunch. And it's worked really well. We're going to continue doing virtual seminars because it's great for some people who maybe find it hard to commute or don't want to commute into a city, into London in this case, and who like learning from home. And I make it as lively and as interactive as possible. And a part of the course, part of the design of the course, which works just as well virtually and in the room, is that you will be working on your things. You'll be doing some strategic thinking about things that are important to you, and that works whether you're using a video meeting room or indeed in the room. The benefits, though, of getting away from your screen for the day and coming along to the London course is that you will meet like-minded people, and you will there's a bit of networking there as well, but also people with similar issues and problems as you who want the same benefits. They've come to the same point in the road, and they need this new thing. Now that comes up in a couple of ways. It comes up in the actual room. In a virtual seminar, I encourage people to ask questions freely, not just even in the chat, but to turn their microphones on and actually speak to me. And then, of course, I answer them in the best way I can. But it sort of stops there normally, and then we move on. In the room, it will start a conversation. It will start a discussion. Someone else might say, "Oh yeah, I have that same problem," or someone will say, "Oh yeah, but there's a slight subtlety difference in the way I see that," and that happens much more naturally, much more organically. In a live meeting space, so that's a real benefit to it. You get the instruction from the seminar leader coach. In the room, you can challenge it a bit more. You can say, you put your hand up and say, "Look, can you come over and look at this? I've got this problem here, and I really want some help with that." Because a large part of the day, is you working on stuff, and then really seeing how do I put this new way of thinking into my world. And then on the live seminar, there is the benefit of the breaks. So in the short breaks in the morning and afternoon, and indeed for the hour at lunch, most of the group stay together. And I join in as well, and the other seminar leaders I know, when they run them, they join in, and so we'll discuss. Of course, we might discuss things that aren't GTD related. We're all grown up, so we can talk about what we want. But there is a lot of discussion about, but actually, how does that work? And my issue is this, and I've tried this, and I've done this before. And how is this different? How is this better? So it's those little bits of sort of magic that happen in the break that I think add to the live in-person thing. Plus, there's just a different energy for being in the room, and slightly. I might even say there's more humour, there's more laughs, more dynamic delivery. Where we run them is somewhere called Wallace Space. We've been using Wallace Space for a number of years now. If you don't know it, it's a training and event space used for a lot of training companies, and indeed companies for external training venues and rooms. It's a really great space for thinking. It's very modern, and the coffee's good, and the food is excellent. So it's a great place to spend a day anyway, and to get away from it all. So either to get away from your home office, or to get away from your real office, and to come along and have this sort of really, really quite creative day, thinking about your world, but in a different space. So fundamental course, I think it's fantastic. Gets you on the journey of GTD, and my job, I think, is to give you all the benefits of the 5 steps of mastering workflow, so that you can start to use them immediately, but also to intrigue you enough or energize you enough to realize that this is something worth pursuing, worth putting in a bit of effort at the beginning to start to build. And getting things done is, we call it the art of getting things done. It's an art form. It's a bit like learning to play tennis or learning a musical instrument. You know, how good can you get at that? This is the beginning. This is telling you, you know, the basic moves, and also that there is a lot to get out of it. So it's in London at one of the wonderful Wallace spaces this year, you know, a couple of months' time. I'd really hope to see you there.